All right, this is Femi Lamberts, and here's where you're burned out as a land flipper. And I'm going to say it very simply. I'm going to break it down to you on how to not be burned out and how to stay consistent in business, how to close deals. I'm going to break it down all to you. But in summary, you're burned out because you're losing. You're not closing any deals. And here's why. This is you, right? Sad face. Always a new data system coming out, sellers yelling at you, bombing mailers, wrong market, new success story. Someone's always posting a new success story in the Lamberts chat, whatever it is. You're spending money on your marketing. There's always something new coming out. And there's always a new business model, right? So not only do you have shiny object syndrome, but you also have all these other things. And honestly, it's causing you not to focus. You're not able to focus on what it is that you're doing. You're not able to focus on the key things that are actually going to contribute to you closing deals. And I see a lot of people quit at land flipping, whether they see it on YouTube or wherever they find it, YouTube, Instagram, whatever it is, they find the model. Maybe they try to send out a mailer or try to send out some marketing, but they quit. And because they quit, they fail. And they quit because their main common theme is, I feel burned out. It was just burned out. It was difficult. This is a difficult game. And you have to focus on three basic things. Three basic things I'm going to break down in this video in order to actually be successful in this business and actually have a sustainable land flipping business that's profitable consistently. If you don't focus on these three things, if you try to focus on all this other, let's be honest, all this other shit, you're going to have issues, right? There's always going to be these things happening all around you, all the time. Always going to be these things happening all around you. Oh, my mail didn't work this week, so maybe I should try to text. Oh, my texting didn't work this week, so maybe I should try to cold call. I'm going to break it down all to you. Oh, this person was successful in this market, so maybe I should go to that market. Oh, I picked the wrong market, so maybe I need to pick Oh, my mailer didn't work. Mail doesn't work. Oh, there's a new business model. I saw this thing about drop shipping or Amazon FBA, or I saw that you can flip boats and make $250,000. Focus. You're burned out because you lack focus. So today I'm going to introduce you guys the three pillars of land flipping. And those three pillars are marketing, acquisitions, and dispositions. That's it. That's all you need to focus on. Marketing, acquisitions, dispositions. So now, I'm going to break all these things down. So, in short, marketing is when you are able to master the channel of whatever it is that you're doing. So if you start out sending mail, you need to be able to master that channel. By master the channel, that means if you send out 5,000 mailers, you need to know exactly what's going to come back or have a very key idea, because you have so many tracked KPIs. You know how many calls are going to come in, you know a rough amount of how many people you're going to talk to, and you know a rough amount of how many people you're going to close based upon the market. My KPIs are that dialed in. Every time I send out a mailer, I know what's going to come back. I have a rough idea. I don't know exactly or who the seller is going to be or maybe what the acreage is going to be, but I know how many dollars are going to come back from what I spent, right? I'm looking for ROAS consistently. I'm looking for consistent ROAS. At least 5x of what I'm spending every time. At least 5x. So, if you spend $5,000, you should make $25,000. Be consistent. And again, that's at least. Usually it's 10 to 12x. You need to be consistent with your marketing. A lot of people are not consistent with their marketing. Some people will send out for, let's say, a week or 2 weeks, or they'll just send out 10,000 mailers one time. Some people will just send out 10,000 mailers one time and just kind of expect for you to get deals and for you to be profitable. Whatever mail that you're going to send, whatever marketing you're going to send, whether it's text, whether it's cold call, whatever it is, sustain that amount of marketing for 6 consistent months. You need to be able to sustain it. A lot of people will get into this and think, okay, if I just send out a bunch of mail at one time, I'm just going to hit it hard and I'm going to make money. The only reason why I say to be consistent is because years ago when I started my journey, I made the mistake of sending out a lot of mail. I sent out like 25,000 mailers at one time, and I got like 2 deals back. Nothing really came back from it. And then I was like, okay, let me work these deals for the next couple months. One of them fell apart, one of them closed. I only had one closed deal. Now, if I would have sustained, as a beginner, if I would have sustained 5,000 to 10,000 mailers per month and I would have done that for 6 months, I would have probably had 10 to 15 deals as opposed to one, because you're able to consistently send out this mail through the cycles of the market. Send it out, send it out, send it out. Don't just try and send out one big mailer. Send it out for 6 months. Be consistent. Consistently have conversations. Consistently send out your marketing. Do it for 6 months straight. And if you don't have any results after 6 months, I've actually never had a single person come to me that didn't have results after 6 months of doing it consistently. If someone stopped after the second month, oh, well, this happened. Well, send it for 6 months. Do it for 6 months sustainably. And yes, you'll have results before that. You'll have success. You'll close deals before that. But in order to build a business, in order to build a pipeline of deals consistently, send it out for 6 months. Number 3, with marketing, it's important to focus heavily on public perception. These are things that a lot of people don't think about. You have, in 2024, October 2024, you probably have around, this is a rough guess, but around 3,000 to 5,000 vacant land businesses around that area of people that are doing this, right? So you have to imagine how many mailers are going to the same sellers, how much marketing is going to the same sellers. So how do you make yourself stand out? And this is what people always ask me. Are you worried about saturation? So many people are doing this. Do you ever worry about that? The answer is no, because I make sure that my brand and my public perception looks 1,000 times better than anyone, right? I try to make sure I prioritize that. We make sure that our public perception is so much better than everyone, it just blows it out of the water. You go check the reviews are stellar. You check the website's stellar. Even on the mailer, the actual marketing on the mailer looks so much better than anyone else's. We integrate some certain technology to even make our mailer look better. And these are all things that you have access to when you join Landburst. But these are things that literally take you from a 10 to 110 just by having your public perception right. Because you have to think, if a seller sees, let's say I have a 50-acre parcel of vacant land that I've never seen. I'm 55 years old. I want to sell the property. I have 6 letters in front of me. Which one am I going to pick? The one that stands out the most, the one that looks the most professional, the one that looks like people that I want to do business with, right? That's what you have to think about. And then, what do I look at after that? Who are the people, who's the first person that I talk to when I call this letter? Who's the first person I talk to? How do they sound? So it's important to make sure that whoever it is on that other end, whether it's an answering service or whether you hire someone or whatever it is, you need to make sure that they are 10 out of 10, because the first person that they talk to matters very much in your public perception. Now, the last thing that's very important as well when it comes to marketing is market selection. You cannot be selecting markets where there's just desert squares and you're gonna make $500 off of your deals. Don't go for little deals. Go for deals that are mid-sized to large deals. You should always go for those kind of deals, because keep it real, a lot of people don't go for those kind of deals, and a lot of people don't know how to do them, especially if you have the education. You need to be going after these larger to mid-sized deals that are gonna net you $25K plus in profit. You can do deals that net you $500,000 plus in profit. You can do deals that net you multiple 6 figures in profit on just one deal. It's just about consistent marketing. Now, I would not suggest building a business off of that if you are lacking capital. I would suggest you focusing on deals that are going to net you anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000 very, very consistently. That's how you build a business that does anywhere from $250,000 to $500,000 plus. And then once you start doing that consistently, recurring that, then you start going after deals that net you 250 grand plus. That's when you start going after those bigger deals. Obviously, those bigger deals have a longer time cycle. They take longer. The seller profile is a little bit more advanced as well. So if you're just starting out, that could be a little bit more difficult. But you want to focus heavily on rural recreational markets. So I also want to make sure that every single market that I'm in, the demand is anywhere from 50 to 100% more than the supply. Because if the demand is more than the supply, then I know that as soon as I list that property, it's gonna fly. I didn't even mean to rhyme that, by the way. Anyways, acquisitions. So in acquisitions, you have rapport building. Rapport building is extremely important when you're dealing with acquisitions, getting properties under contract, and negotiating properties. Sellers need to feel like they're your friend. They need to feel like they can call you up and talk to you about the property. They need to feel like they can trust you to talk about the details of the property. Now, if a seller trusts you, they're going to give you the entire intel on the property, start to finish. And I'm talking about from great grand cousin or great grandfather, whatever it might be. They're going to tell you, they're going to break down the entire thing to you from start to finish, the entire story. So then you can figure out what it means to them. You start building a connection with them based upon what it means to that seller. And then you know, okay, when it comes down to the negotiation table, if I have to get there, this is how I'm going to do that. You also need to know, we're going to get to that, or rapport building. And honestly, rapport building is really not that difficult. You just want to talk to them. Talk to them like you would, you're serving them. You really are. So it's not like a thing of like, it's fake. No, you actually have a conversation with them, actually talk to them, actually care about what their issue is, identify what their problem is so that you can help them, right? Build a rapport. They need to feel comfortable enough to call you. They need to feel comfortable enough to call you about the property, talk to you about the property. Oh, hey, yeah, absolutely. You can go out to the property and take pictures. Oh, hey, absolutely. You can have a representative from your company go out and look at the property. Oh, hey, absolutely. You can get a perk test. You can do all those things on the property. Now, if they don't feel comfortable with you, if you haven't built that rapport, it's going to be very hard for you to identify all the exit strategies that might be available to you. It's going to be very hard for you to negotiate when it's time to negotiate. It's going to be very hard for you to conduct a lot of business and a lot of things that we do on a lot of these different land deals, because each land deal, every land deal is not the same. So we have different strategies that we use based upon really our rapport with the seller. Can I double close this? Maybe. Can I subdivide this? Maybe. I don't want to talk too much about subdivides because people are getting a little too excited about that and putting the cart before the horse. So I'm going to pause on the subdivides for now. But rapport building is extremely important. If you don't have that, you don't have a deal. Next is negotiations, which ties very heavily with rapport building. You need to not be afraid to negotiate with the seller when it comes time to. I have taken $50,000 to $14,000. I've taken $600,000 to $300,000. I've taken $72,000 to $20,000. These are all negotiations that I've made, huge negotiations. And I'll be honest, these are not my team. These are things that I personally did. When I started doing this, I had a reason why I needed to negotiate that down, because at the end of the day, this is going to give us that much more profit on this deal. If I don't negotiate this, the margin on this deal might be maybe 30 or 40,000. But if I do negotiate this, it's going to be a lot more. Or the margin will be smaller. It'll be like 5 or 10K, maybe, right? Or 30 or 40K, maybe. But worst case scenario might be 15K. I need my worst case scenario to be still a good case, right? So that's when negotiations come into play. When you talk to a broker, and we're going to get to that, but when you talk to a broker and they tell you 75, in my head, I think 60. I think 60. I think I have to be as aggressive as possible. So that means I need to go get this for 30. A lot of people get scared to negotiate. Oh, the seller might curse me out, especially when you're over. If you're over in price, like if you actually over offered, you need to go negotiate. And a lot of people won't do that. A lot of people say, oh, well, the seller said no. Well, how many times did you call? Did you really aim to build rapport with this person, or did you just call them one time? Did you ask them 1,000 questions about the property? Did you pick holes and poke holes through the property and try and figure out what are some pain points with this property and what are some pain points with the seller that I might be able to tie in together and make even better negotiations to the point where now I've just shaved off $30,000 off my price? A lot of people don't think about that. You need to be able to think, how can I identify the pain points in the seller and the property, because those are two different things. What is it about this seller that they need to sell or that they want to sell? Have they seen it in 20 years? Did someone just pass away? Did they just get a divorce? Have they never seen the property? Like, these are all things that we have to take into consideration when doing negotiations, because I use that with the seller. Oh, well, hey, Mr. John, I mean, you told me yourself you haven't seen this property in 20 years and don't ever plan on seeing it. So with that being said, listen, the best I can do is 40,000. I understand I offered 62, but I can get that 40 done for you within 2 weeks, cash. Money's already in an escrow account, just as an example. And 9 times out of 10, that seller's gonna say yes. How do I know? Because I've done it. With that being said, you also need to have relentless follow-up. People do not follow up enough. People don't follow up enough. And that's one thing I see, like, you will lose hundreds of thousands of dollars over your career, over like 10 years. You will lose millions of dollars by not following up, genuinely. And if you don't follow up, and even like, I've had this slip up in my CRM before. We've had deals where we called, maybe it got lost somewhere in our sequence. Maybe it got lost in the CRM. You call a year later, and the seller sold that property for what we would have made, maybe $70,000 in that property, right? So things slip through the cracks. So your job to make sure that things do not slip through the cracks. You need to have relentless follow-up. And really, follow-up sequence goes like, lead comes into your CRM, you call. If they don't answer, call, text, email, voicemail, everything. Call, text, email, voicemail. And we do it recurring every single day, Monday through Friday. Boom, 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 boom. Now, after 2 weeks, if they don't respond to any of those things, we go every other day. And after 2 weeks of every other day, if they don't respond to that, then we go to once a week. And then we keep it at a once a week cadence for every single lead, unless we find out they're either dead or they don't own the property. Those are the only two things that we don't follow up with. That's how relentless your follow-up needs to be. And listen, you could not listen to me, but ultimately, if you're watching this video, it's because you're burned out as a land flipper and you're not closing deals. You are burned out because you're not closing deals, and this is exactly how to do it. So, the last thing is seller profiles. You need to understand seller profiles, and that kind of goes in with rapport building as well. You need to know who you're talking to and why they're talking to you. Who are you talking to? What kind of person is this? Is this a more analytical person? Is this a happy-go-lucky person? Are they angry with you? Are they abrasive? What's their story? Where are they from? What's their background? What's their career? All these things. All these things matter very, very much when you're dealing with seller profiles, because if you don't know who you're talking to, how the fuck are you going to close them? If you don't know who you're talking to, how are you going to close them? You can't. This is one of the biggest things that we focus in Landverse as well, is seller profiles, because when it comes to acquisitions, you just have to know who you're talking to. So we break down and do simulations even. And then as leads come in, we break down these people and say, okay, this is this kind of seller, here's how you close it. Now, I have talked to so many sellers that I know the profile of the person when I hear the first call. Like within maybe the first 30 seconds of a call, I know. And so you want to be that analytical to the point where you know exactly who the hell you're talking to as soon as they call, as soon as you hear the call. Oh, okay, I've heard this before. Here's how you deal with it. That's what you need to know. Now, when you can when you can dial things into that level of analysis, that level of detail, your deal rate, the deals that you close, the deals you get under contract will go through the roof. So you will not have this, oh, I feel burned out, I'm not closing any deals. You won't have that anymore. You'll just be closing. Conveyor belt closing. That's what I want you to do. I want your closes, I want your deals to be closing. I want you to be receiving wires on a conveyor belt consistently. That's what I want for you. So, last thing is dispositions. So with dispositions, you have buyer profiles. That's one of the biggest things. Just like seller profiles on acquisitions. Who is buying this from me? Who buys it? What do they look like? How much money do they have? What's their career? I'm looking at all these things. Are they a hunter? Do they want to build? Do they want to fish? What do they want to do on this property? Who buys that? And how do I market it to that person? How do I market it to the primary person that buys the property? How do I do that? Well, you do that with great marketing, right? You need to have impeccable marketing tailored to the specific person that is most likely to buy that property from you. Now, if you do that every single time you list a property, you'll sell your properties extremely fast. Who buys it? How do I sell it to them? That's what you need to ask yourself. Every time you get ready to sell a property, who buys it specifically? Like, what does this person look like even? And how do I sell it to them? If you think about those two things alone, your properties will sell extremely fast. You also need a great broker. You need a broker that's going to go to the property, take the pictures even before the property closes, not charge you anything. You need an impeccable broker, and you need a broker that's specific to whatever property type that is that you're selling. So you cannot have a broker that has houses You can't have a broker that has houses listed on the market if you're trying to sell a 25-acre piece of rural recreational hunting land. Not gonna work. They're gonna overprice it. It will sit. You won't see your properties. It's just not gonna work. So don't. Oh, these are great pictures. Let me pick this broker. No, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Use a broker that's specific to whatever property type that you want to go for. That's it. That you're selling. Whatever property that you're selling, use that specific broker. Whatever kind of property it is that you're selling, use that specific broker. So residential, use a broker that is familiar with large residential tracts or 5-acre residential tracts. Make sure that whatever it is that they sold is like kind to whatever property is that you're selling, and if it's not, do not go with them. If they try to charge you a fee, oh well, it's gonna be $500 for you to get out to this property. You have to pay me $500. I only take Zelle for me to go out to the property. They're not your broker. Don't pay anybody to go out to these properties, because if they're really about what they say they're about, if they really can list and sell your properties fast, they won't charge you because they know they can do it. The best brokers I've ever worked with have never charged me until the end. And even what I do, and this is a bonus tip. My students are probably gonna get mad at me for this. I'm sorry, but I offer broker bonuses to brokers to even incentivize people to bring me more buyers. So I might offer you guys an extra 1%, 1.5%. I've gone as high as 2.7% to a broker to bring me other brokers and bring me other buyers that will bring a buyer faster. So not on top of whatever it is that you're getting, I'll give you extra to bring me a buyer. That's how you sell these properties fast. You take care of these people, they'll take care of you, they'll bring you buyers fast. That's why I'm consistently able to sell my properties. I got a text earlier today. I'll read it. I'll read it. Not gonna say who it was. Are you finding it tougher to sell properties right now? I said no. I sold multiple properties this month. Why? Because of great marketing, great broker. That's it. Multiple properties that go under contract. Multiple properties that have already gone under contract that are closing next month. Sold multiple properties this month as well. Multiple properties in October. Multiple properties under contract to sell in November. And I think I have a couple properties that I'm supposed to sell in December as well. So all of this is because, last thing, above and beyond. You need to go above and beyond in all your listings. So drone shots, listings, so drone shots, photos, listing descriptions, everything like that needs to be above and beyond. There's one thing I'm missing. Oh. Just go above and beyond in all your listings, and if you do that, you start going above and beyond and like really thinking about who is it that buys this from me, and go above and beyond to communicate the message of that property to that seller. I mean, you go and communicate the message of that property to that buyer, you'll sell your properties quickly. The last thing, bonus. The last thing is to be aggressive. You need to be aggressive with the properties that you list on the market. If you see that the average property on the market is like selling for $290,000, don't list it for $290. List it for $275. List it for $260. You need to be pretty much the lowest price in the area for you to sell fast. Remember, we're playing a game of speed. We're not playing a game of, oh, I have $1 million in my pipeline that's supposed to close, but all these properties have been sitting on the market for 100 days. We're not playing that game. We're playing the game of, I just got a wire for $100,000 because I sold a property in 2 weeks. That's the kind of game that you're playing. Now, you play that game, you'll never be burned out because you'll close deals and you make money. So be aggressive. Don't try to list the I have people that come to me and say, oh, can you fund this deal for me? Yeah, the broker said that we need to list it at $475,000. I'll go and look at the comps. I'm like, well, some of these comps are selling for $450. So we really need to be in at $410, $405. And people get mad at me. But then when we do that, guess what? Property sells in 2 weeks. Why? Because I understand how to price. You have to understand how to price to sell. This is not a vanity game. It's not a vanity sport. We're doing this to make money. Now, if you're not making money, you don't have no business. So we do this to make sure that we're consistently cash flowing, consistently profitable, consistently making money so that we can go do whatever it is that we want to do in life. That's why we do this, right? So don't hold on to, oh, I know I can list this property for $485. Be aggressive and don't be afraid to be aggressive, because at the end of the day, what matters is that you clear that wire and cash that check. Now, if you do all these things that I just mentioned, this will be you right here. Whoop, 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 whoop. You'll be happy, and you'll be making money, and you won't be burned out because you'll be closing deals. Now, let me remind you. This is you right now. So, besides this, what I would suggest is for you to always come back to this video and reference it. Whenever you feel burned out, whenever you feel whatever, whenever you feel tired, whenever you feel like you want to quit this business model, whenever you feel like, oh, I can't do this, come back to this video specifically. Don't go watch a million new videos about assigning wholesale, really all these different channels. Watch this video alone. Watch this video. If you watch this video alone and you focus on the 3 pillars, marketing, acquisitions, dispositions that I just named, I promise you, you'll come back to this video 6 months from now and you'll have at least 50 grand in cash. At least. That's like a very nominal small number, but I promise you, 6 months from now, if you do these things that I just said, 3 pillars, marketing, acquisitions, dispositions, you'll have at least 50 grand in cash. Stop worrying about all this other stuff. Doesn't matter. That's why you're sad. That's why you're not closing any deals. Focus on the 3 pillars: marketing, acquisitions, and dispositions. You want to take a picture of that, go ahead. This is McFemmy with Lambers, and I'll see you on the next video. Actually, you guys can let me know how you guys like this video. This is like a new setup. I just got a new house, so I'm trying this setup. I'm trying all kind of different spots in my house. So you guys want to just let me know what you think about this video. And that's pretty much it. Much love.